Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. We're a man down, but for good reason. He's the man on location for a different podcast. So just the three of us predicting games, talking about last week's games, etc., etc. All the stuff you'd expect from the football podcast. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And if you've got a football fan in your life, maybe slide this podcast in their direction. Never know. They might thank you for it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, football podcast.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. You join us at a time where I'm trying to be my own chiropractor and administer neck compressions, apparently. It's a strange time. Welcome along. For those of you watching us on YouTube, you'll notice that your screen appears to look a little different to how it does most weeks, in the fact that there's only three faces staring back at you at this particular time. Mr. Stuart Woodmansey, sadly, unable to join us as he's previously indisposed, as he is watching some men in tight lycra enjoy 5 to 10 minutes with each other. He also, at some point during this evening, might go watch the wrestling, but we can't say for certain whether or not that takes place. So, no Mr. Stuart Woodmansey this week, but I am joined by Mr. Cook and Mr. Moore. How are we this week, gentlemen?
Flying high.
Flying so high. It's incredible.
I was privy to a conversation at work the other day where Nottingham Forest was used as an example in a conversation about football, and I was like, sorry about how they're just sneaking their way up the table. I was like, I know one man who would appreciate that.
What you should have done is you should have dropped in some sort of like knowledge, about you should have just like blown their mind by just saying, "Oh yeah, but Yates is playing out of his mind at the moment." That's I'd
have been like, "That's because Wood's just banging in goals. Come on."
Yeah.
I mean, like, huh?
Like, who?
Ah, yes, lovely stuff. So, week 11 brought with it 5 games, the first of which, speaking of Nottingham Forest, took place in the Premier League and was Nottingham Forest taking on West Ham United. On paper, potentially a challenging game for Nottingham Forest. I believe this was anything but, was it, Mr. Moore?
Yeah, apparently Forest came out, stomped all over him for a bit, and then we'll kind of go through it. So, yeah, apparently Forest, I didn't get to see it, but I've seen like a lot of the match reports and stuff. So Forest came out positive. Like, I think I've been saying this for ages, that like Forest have got to come out and start like being positive and taking it on themselves. Kind of took a while. I think it took a while for them to get the lead, but eventually got the lead through Chris Wood. A really nice attacking, a nice bit of attacking down the left. I think it was Moreno who dinked it in for him, and somehow he had virtually all the 6-yard box just to nod it into the back of the net. Nice little finish. I think it was Gibbs White's pass through was really nice as well for the goal. It stayed 1-0 for a while. Chris Wood then cleared the ball off the line for a Paqueta chance, which then led to a Forest attack, and the Alvarez, the West Ham defender, then scythed down Anthony Elanga for his second yellow card and was sent off. Just to add to the hilarity of the event, he then proceeded to walk to the corner of the ground to get out, and obviously couldn't because that's not where the tunnel is. So then had to walk a good kind of side and a bit to then get round to the tunnel to then joyous cheers from the fans because of course they were going to let that go. But so then, so after half time, Lapategi brought on Forest Old Boy. I forgot his name now. Got out of my head.
Antonio?
Yeah, Mikel Antonio and somebody else. And they gave it a real good go, apparently, for the first 10-15 minutes. But I think Elliot Anderson had come on at this point, which he was a surprise exclusion from the team, considering he's probably been our best player for the past couple of games. But to bring Gibbs White back in, but Elliot Anderson won a nice free kick. From the free kick, he laid it back to Callum Hudson-Odoi, who does what he does every game, every match, but with this time a little kind of nod, a little nod from one of the West Ham defenders, and it went in. It made the poor goalkeeper look daft. And then just to finish it off, one of Forest's best performers this year, Ola Aina. He had a run down the right, lost the ball. It then ricocheted off his shoulder, which then fell into his path. And, quote, I was knackered, so I just hit it. And it went right at the top of the net. And then because I think Stu asked me, because I was with Stu at the time, what's the celebration all about? And apparently he described as, in his interview, which I think even Mr. Williams has seen, where he was there, stood there drinking a nice carton of Ribena, said, it's what I'm doing is I'm stirring the pot because we're cooking at the moment. That's what it was. And that fired Forest up into third place at the time, which then results went their way for them to still be third. Dizzying heights. We've not been at that high in the league for 26 years. And as somebody smugly pointed out, they spent most of those in the Championship and League One. Yes, we did, but it's still the highest we've been in 25 years, 26 years or something like that. So, yeah.
Heady height indeed. And all I'd say to those people that were giving it the hat, just say, well, have you got 2 European Cups? If not, off you fuck. Exactly. Predictions wise, myself, Mr. Woodmansey, and Mr. Moore had gone for draws. Stuart gone 1-1, Wood and Bowen, so it gives us up a bonus point for his Wood. Matt had gone 2-2, Wood, Ilanga, Antonio and Bowen, so gets himself a bonus point for his Wood. I had gone 2-2, Wood, Hudson-Odoi, Antonio and Bowen, so I get 2 bonus points. I get a bonus point for my Wood and a bonus point for my Hudson-Odoi. Doesn't make sense as a joke. Andy had gone for a 2-0 Forest win with his Wood and Hudson-Odoi, so gets himself 3 points in total. A very nice start to the week, may I add, for all of us on the podcast.
There was a moment where, at that point, a point on Saturday, where Andy had the exact prediction, and then Ola Aina spoiled it.
Ola Aina just had the pop up in the 78th minute and ruin everything from Andy's perspective, didn't he? What a little slug. Now, our second game of the week would normally be broken down by our Hull correspondent, but as he is inconspicuous by his absence, I will have to go through the details of Hull City versus Portsmouth. Now, this would usually have been a game that Mr. Woodmansey was in attendance for with his season pass, but obviously he was out of the country at the time, so was unable to take in the Hull 1, Portsmouth 1 draw. Hull took the lead on the 11th minute when there was a lovely raking ball out to the left wing by Hughes, the centre-back, to Balumi, who took his man on, played a ball into the 6-yard box for João Pedro to notch his first for the club. I don't think an awful lot happened for the rest of the half. Hull went in at the break 1-0 up. And then within 20, 30 seconds of the restart, Portsmouth were level. Ball had been played in from the right wing from Lang. 2 or 3 of the Hull defenders tried to clear it, and the ball kind of ricocheted into the path of Murphy. He hit his effort. It kind of cannoned off Alfie Jones and just looped over the goalkeeper. Not the prettiest of goals, and obviously not a goal that Hull would have wanted to concede in any shape or form. But sadly, there we are. It went in. Portsmouth arguably maybe had a bit of a decent shout for a penalty in the second half, turned down. From the stuff that I saw, it was a bit of a clumsy challenge from Hughes. He looked like he was falling over and took the guy out with him as he fell down, and the ref just said, no, it's just a bit of an accident coming together. Portsmouth arguably had the better of the chance in the second half, as they could have won it as well, but it was a double save from Panda towards the end of the game to keep it at 1-1. Musings that the Hull fans are once again not too happy with the manager and his style of play and whatnot. So watch this space, I would say. Watch. We've got another international break coming up, and if they don't get results, you might potentially see a change of manager in the Hull City dugout. But we'll have to wait and see. Predictions wise on the podcast, very little to report on this one. Stu is the only person who gets a point in the fact that he had predicted a João Pedro goal, but the rest of us had all predicted Hull City wins, and none of us had predicted João Pedro goals. Stu and Matt were the only people who gave Portsmouth a goal, and neither one of them had gone for Murphy. So just a 1 point for Stu on that one. Now, our third game of the week takes in my lot, Middlesbrough, and they were playing against what can only be described as their recent bogey team, Coventry City. And Coventry certainly started the game the better of the two sides. This was a strange game in the fact that both teams weren't playing their first team colours, as it were. Borough were playing in an all-white kit in a no more red knife crime charity game. So all the proceeds, the kits are going to go on auction starting this week, and all proceeds will go to the anti-knife crime charity. But it was strange seeing Borough play at home, not in red. Strange. But like I say, Coventry started the better of the two sides, and they actually had the ball in the back of the net twice within the opening 15 minutes. But both times it was flagged for offside, which was the correct decision. The game was kind of settled as a contest without any goals being scored in the first 20 minutes, as Hayden Hackney received his first yellow card on the 12th minute for a pullback after he lost possession of the ball. Fair enough, fair yellow card. Probably should have been given. Can't really have any arguments. However, his second yellow card was given on the 22nd minute when he went into a 50-50 challenge with Brandon Thomas Asante. Looked like he got the ball, but one of those challenges where it probably does leave a little bit on the player. Maybe it was arguably a slightly harsh yellow card, but when you're already on a yellow, you need to have a little bit more sensibility about yourself, and you need to know that you can't really go steaming into challenges like that when you're already on a booking. So Borough found themselves down to 10 men with the best part of 70 minutes still to play. Finn Azaz was sacrificed so Johnny Houghton would come on to sit in the middle of the park alongside Aidan Morris to kind of shore the team up, see if they could get as long through the game, keeping it as a draw as possible. And they almost held out until half time, when 3 minutes before half time, Coventry had a short corner routine, played it around a little bit, then clipped it into the box where Bobby Thomas found himself unmarked to head home. That was the opening goal. Into the second half, Borough arguably were playing better with 10 men than they had been with 11. Had a couple of efforts to try and get themselves back into the game. couple of efforts from distance. Tommy Conway at one point was almost put in behind and almost managed to get an equaliser, but so couldn't make it count. Borough made a tactical change in the 75th minute to try and capitalise on the spaces that Coventry were leaving. Went to like a 5 at the back, and it was undone within about 30 seconds. It was on the 76th minute. Haji Wright made it 2-0. Substitute Sakamoto was free on the left hand side, just played the ball across the box. Wright was there, unmarked at the back stick to tap in. 2-0, game over as a contest. And it became 3 on the 81st minute when Haji Wright again was the sort of instigator in chief. Played a little through ball for Josh Eccles to run onto and just tap the ball in comfortably past Seny Dieng to make it 3-0. Borough could have got a consolation goal back from Delano Bergzorg in the closing seconds, but he when he was almost clean through, he managed to flash his shot well wide of the far post. No dice, I'm afraid. Borough 0-3. I don't get any reward for my first in-person Riverside visit of the season. And as was pointed out by Mr. Moore, maybe I should stop going to watch Middlesbrough play Coventry, as I don't seem to be the best of luck tokens in that regard. That's the last 3 times I've seen them play, and they have lost by an aggregate of 7-1. Predictions-wise, again, it's slim pickings on the podcast. I'm the only one who picked up a point, as I had Haji Wright to score a goal. I'd gone 2-2. That was the only thing I got correct. Stu had gone 1-1. Neither of the goal scorers. Matt had gone 3-2 Borough, and somehow didn't manage to get any of the goal scorers in his 5, which is insane. And Andy had gone 2-0 with Bergzorg as one of his goal scorers. So had he not been a huge pile of shit and smashed it past the near post on the far post, Andy would have at least had a consolation point. But sadly, after 3 games, I found myself on 3 points. Stu on 2, Matt on 1, Andy is on 3 as well. 2 games left to go through, which we will do momentarily. We're just going to step away and take a short break, but when we come back, we'll have details of Oxford United versus Hull City for you. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back on in, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said before the break, so our next game saw Oxford United taking on Hull City, and obviously Mr. Woodmansey would give you the breakdown of this one as well, but he's not here. So I'll have to take you through a disappointing away loss for Hull City. From what I saw on the highlights, Hull had early chances from both Palmer and Omer, but they weren't able to capitalise. The Omer one the Palmer one was a bit of a sort of a half chance. The Omer one was definitely better than that. He managed to make his way through, forced a save from the keeper, but probably should have done a bit better. Pandor was then forced with making a save himself to keep it at 0-0, a header at the back post from a Oxford player, but he managed to keep out 0-0 at half time. But Oxford took the lead in the 55th minute. Another raking ball from the defender was played across to the left-hand side. The ball was whipped into around the penalty spot. Dane Scarlett went for the initial ball, complete air shot, but it went to Ter Avest, who managed to find himself at the back post unmarked from 6 yards out, to slam the ball home to make it 1-0 to Oxford. Slightly later on into the contest, Balumi and Bedia both had chances to equalise to get Hull a point, but they were off target with both of their efforts. Not a stellar night at the office for Hull City, sadly. Also not a stellar night for anyone on the podcast, as no one had an Oxford United win, and no one in their right mind was picking Ter Avest to score the goal for Oxford, as I don't even think he'd ever scored a goal in professional football before. So no point.
What, next time, either when Borough or Hull play them again, guess who's getting picked?
would it be inappropriate to say that it's possible that this guy will go the rest of his career never scoring a goal ever again?
Maybe not, but he's definitely getting predicted next time Oxford are mentioned on this show.
You're absolutely correct, and far be it from me to discourage anybody from picking Mr. Tear of S. Yes, so 4 games in, it's still 1 point to Matt, 2 points to Stu, 3 points apiece for me and Mr. Cook. Our final game takes us back up to a more positive note, as it was QPR versus Middlesbrough. Both teams kind of went into this needing results. Obviously, Borough, that very disappointing 3-0 home reverse to Coventry at the weekend. QPR on what seems to be a horrendous bit of form, although they did get a point last time out against league leaders Sunderland. So went into this one with a bit more about them, so to say, than the Borough. And you could tell for the first 20 minutes or so, it was very scrappy. No team really able to get a foothold in the game. But it was the Borough that opened the score in the 31st minute. Ben Doak, who'd been a bit of a nuisance all night, found himself some space out on the right-hand side. Just ran straight at his man to the byline, played the ball in for Riley McGree, who I've watched this one back about 5 or 6 times. I have no idea what part of his body Riley McGree gets this ball in with, but I don't know if it's hit him or if he's gone to sort of do a little sort of back heel as he's sort of spinning. But either way, it made contact with Riley McGree and it went in the back of the QPR net. Don't care. Borough 1-0 up. They made it 2 on the 35th minute when Tommy Conway found the back of the net, a lovely little pass and move. Luke Ayling played a ball into the right-hand channel for Finnazaz to latch onto. Ran into its path. It was perfectly weighted from the first time play the ball across the box. Tommy Conway was just coming on to the end of it around the 6-yard box. Finished low, past the goalkeeper. No chance for the keeper. 2-0 to the Borough. They managed to make it. They managed to make it to half time, still 2-0 up, mainly because Senny Dieng made 4 very, very good saves from differing QPR attacks to keep it at 2-0 Borough. So that's how it stayed until half time. QPR did manage to make it a little bit uncomfortable for Borough in the 69th minute when the ball was flicked onto the back post and the oldest looking 33-year-old or whatever Cook, I can't remember, he used to play for Forest, what's his name? Centre half. Steve Cook, yeah. The guy who had the hardest paper round in insert town of birth here. But he's the oldest, I swear to God, he looks like he's about 85, but he's only in his mid-30s. He was at the back stick, managed to head the ball backwards, back into the danger area, where it kind of hit Anthony Dijksteel and trickled over the line past Senny Dieng to make it 2-1 to the Borough. QPR kept pushing to try and get the equaliser to make it 2-2, and they were hit on the counter. Aidan Morris played a ball out to Riley McGree on the left-hand side. I don't want to undersell this, but Riley McGree played possibly pass of the season, pass of the decade, blind in behind the QPR defence, and it is honestly, if you've not seen it, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, go find the Sky Sports app, go find the clips of this game. This pass is unbelievable. It is weighted perfectly for Latte Laf to latch onto. Sticks the defender on his arse, rounds the keeper, puts him down once, checks back, puts him down a second time, sticks the defender round on the cover in the back of the net, and then rolls the ball in after him to make it 3-1, kill the game, and then Borough made it safe with in the 5th minute stoppage time. They got a 4th. Dan Barlasser with his first goal for the club picked up the ball in the centre circle, drove towards the edge of the box, tried to play a ball left to Michael Hamilton, but the ball got blocked by the QPR defenders. It kind of managed to make its way straight back into Barlasser's path. He switched the ball out onto his right foot and then just basically used the defender as a bit of a guard. Just curled the ball in the bottom right-hand corner of the keeper's net. Gave the keeper no chance. 4-1 Borough. Mission accomplished. 3 points in the bag. Comfortable win. Very, very happy Borough supporters. And very, very happy podcast predictors, as everyone got points from this game. Andy, 2-0 Borough. Bergzorg and Hamilton, no bonus points for goal scoring. Does get his points for the correct results. That moves him to 4 points. Me, I had 2-1 Borough. Didn't get my goal scorer Salah, but I did get McGree. I didn't get a goal for Azaz, so just 2 points there for the score and one of the goal scorers. Both Stu and Matt had also gone for 2-1 Borough. Stu had gone Saito, Latte-Lath and Conway, and Matt had gone Salah, Latte-Lath and Conway. So they both bagged themselves 3 points for that game alone, which means for the week, Matt, 4 points, Andy, 4 points, myself and Mr. Woodmansey, 5 points apiece. So we take the spoils for this week. That's week 11, done and dusted for you. Week 12 brings with it 3 games, although we are going to discuss 4 games, the fourth of which will become apparent right at the end. The first of these 3 games is my team, Middlesbrough, taking on Luton Town. This is a 12:30 kickoff on the old Sky Sports Plus channel. So for those of you who have Sky Sports subscriptions, get yourself over there. Get yourself watching the Borough versus Luton Town. It's my team. I will give my prediction last. I have Stu's predictions already in the book, so I will give those first. Stu's gone for a 1-1 draw on this one. He's gone for a goal apiece for Azaz and Morris. Matt, what have you got down for Borough versus Luton?
I've gone for a 2-2 draw. I've gone for Conway and Latte-Lath again, and Adebayo and Morris.
Adebayo to hit about another 15 to 25 for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Get that top goal scorer mark.
Yeah.
I like it. Andy?
2-0 to the Borough. Latte and Bergzorg.
Like I say, Bergzorg did come on in the previous home game. Wasn't seen in the game against QPR as he wasn't needed. And given his finishing ability on Saturday, I imagine he might not see much more game time anytime soon. Just say. I've gone optimistic on this one. I've gone for a 2-1 Borough win. I've gone for Conway. And then I've gone for a Morris double. Some of you might be confused. I've gone for Aidan Morris to score for the Borough, and Carlton Morris, dirty, cheating, diving bastard that he is, to score for Luton Town. Our second game sees Hull City taking on West Bromwich Albion. Now, this game and our third game are played on Sunday. This one's at 1 p.m. and is not available on Sky for some bizarre reason. It's Mr. Woodmansey's team. Technically, I'll give his prediction last. I've gone for a 0-0 draw on this one. West Brom on a run of 5 draws on the spin, 3 of which are 0-0s. Hull have obviously not done well the last 2 games. I feel this is one of those games where they just get back to sort of basics, try and keep a clean sheet, potentially don't score either. So I'm going for 0-0. Andy, what have you got down for Hull West Brom?
I was hoping you would come to me next because I feel that mine is quite well in line with yours. I've got a 3-0 Hull win.
Oh, well.
I've got Badia for 2.
Ooh.
And fresh from an ankle injury, Kamara for 1.
Lovely. Matt?
I've gone for a 2-1 West Brom win. I've got 1 goal for Bedia. And then I've got Maja and Ahern Grant for West Brom.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm pretty sure that is his name, but he's just going by Carlin Grant for some strange reason now. But I've put it in the book as Ahern Grant because I know him as that as well. So Strange. Stu's prediction for this one, I believe it's semi sort of optimistic. He's gone for a 1-1 draw. He's gone for the new boy up top, João Pedro, the net for Hull, and Mowat to score for West Brom. Don't know if that's a bit of old boy sort of when he was on loan at the Borough, and the fact that he used to play for Leeds and Barnsley, so he's got a bit of beef with Yorkshire teams. Let's put it that way. Our third and technically final game of the week sees Nottingham Forest taking on massive club Newcastle United in the Premier League. Obviously, this is Mr. Moore's team. He will give his prediction last. Stu has gone for a 2-1 Nottingham Forest win. Goals for Wood, Yates, and Gordon. Interesting. I have gone for a 2-1 Nottingham Forest win. Goals for Wood, Gibbs-White, and Isak. Andy, what have you gone for?
I've gone for a 2-0 Forest win. It's a triple for Wood. And I've got a Wonyu.
I think we would all absolutely love to see it. Well, Mr. Moore, it's your honours this week to close us out. What have you got down for your boys against those dirty barcode bastards?
I've got a 3-2 Newcastle win.
No. You're the form team.
They played really well against Arsenal. And I don't know why, but we just seem to have had barnstormer games with them ever since we've come back up. There's been a lot of, lots of goals.
Yeah, true.
It worries me that they've had that good game against Arsenal. And obviously we've had a good game against West Ham, but I worry that it's going to be a bit of a basketball game, and we'll come out the wrong side of it, because then they'll start. If anyone thinks that Ryan Yates is a shithouse, that whole team is full of shithouses, as is their manager and the scummy bastard who's their assistant manager as well.
Oh, that guy's stealing a living.
Never as a man fit into a region better. Fake tan, whitened teeth, full of himself. I'm like, absolutely bang on.
Jason Tyndall, you are stealing a wage, my friend. Yes, you're
Shocking.
technically you're 5 goal scorers, if there are 5.
Well, I've gone old boy rule double act, Wood and Anderson. And then Isak, because he always seems to score against us. Gordon, he seems to be in good form. And Gamerish, because he always seems to score against us as well.
Ugh. When you were saying about shit houses earlier.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know that Ryan Yates is a bit of a shit house, but Gamerish is a proper, scummy bastard.
Just a horrible little, prick. Just, no interest in playing the game, just wants to go around and kick people.
Let's go around, do shitty things, maybe do a little bit of skill so everybody gets all over excited about him, and then complains at the referee a lot. Yeah, so I'm worried about Sunday.
Yeah. So that's the end of the predictions. But like I said, there was 4 games to go through. As technically, they say that football games are like buses. You don't go to one for ages and then 2 come along at once. Well, that is the case for me, as this weekend I will be in attendance for York City versus Hartlepool United. Ooh, I can hear it now. All those people watching just going, it's quite clearly the premier game of the weekend. Why wouldn't you be there, Mr. Williams? You are absolutely correct. As at time of recording, I believe there are less than 1,000 tickets left for this one.
Wow.
So they're expecting it to be close to, if not a sellout. Not surprising, considering that York are, if not top, within the top 2 or 3 of the conference. So would be very disappointed if it wasn't sold out from a home fan's perspective. And obviously for people from Hartlepool, with the exception of Gateshead, this is their closest away game of the season, and they always seem to travel well to York. The game has been moved to a lunchtime kickoff because the York police force is obviously shitting their pants that there's nearly 2,000 people from Hartlepool that are just going to descend on York City Centre.
I don't want to cast aspersions, but that's called most Saturdays in York nowadays, isn't it?
It's a good point. I know, obviously, it's not. York, by the way, are indeed top of the National League. York is very much obviously, Andy will be able to attest to this heartily. York, quite a popular destination for members of the North East community, which is bizarre when you consider that York is fucking expensive to drink in.
It seems to be definitely that kind of Middlesbrough, Stockton, Hartlepool, let's have a fancy day out, Mara, kind of attitude. Yeah, it's shocking.
As long as you're not coming to do any shopping, because, all the shops are shut.
Well, there was that. It is a case of, this could be the high street in any town that you go into these days, but it's a case of shoppers bitten the dust this week. But yes, so that will be my Saturday afternoon. We'll be taking York City versus Hartlepool. Fingers crossed, it'll be in a way a positive result for the away team. But let's just say my father is holding out absolutely zero hope that Pools will get anything from this game, as I believe his exact phrase at the moment was they're playing like shit. They currently find themselves 15th in the division. They haven't had a manager for the last 3 weeks, and there doesn't appear to be any sort of movement on them appointing a new manager. The caretaker is in his 70s, a gentleman by the name of Lenny Lawrence, who once managed Middlesbrough in the Premier Division in the very first season of the Premier League, no less. So, yes, he has been a manager for donkey's years and is currently being tasked with keeping Pools relevant in the National League. So, that's the end of this week's podcast, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to bring to the table.
Just two quick little bits of Forest news. Shock horror. The chairman's appeal got turned down for his 5-match ban for spitting on the floor in front of the official because he was smoking 2 cigars a day and had a bad cold. And just more of a rumour situation. Edu left Arsenal as their sporting director, and is apparently coming to join the Forest family.
So I'd seen this. So it's not technically that it'll be just a Forest employee, is it? He'll basically be under Marinakis' sort of football umbrella.
So you've got Forest, Olympiacos, and
Rio
Ave, and apparently another to be determined 4th team, rumoured to be an Italian team, I think. And he will be head of the group, overseeing what I assume will be numerous dodgy dealings to help everyone avoid PSR.
The opinions of Mr. Moore are not the opinions shared by anyone here at the Cookie Cast podcast network. It must be said.
But yes, his role will be COO or CEO or some kind of overseeing role of the running of I assume the playing side of all 4 teams.
Do you reckon it'll be maybe sort of recruitment and stuff?
Yeah, I think I assume that, and because I think at Arsenal he's very much in control of all aspects of football, so including youth teams and stuff like that. I assume that's going to be his role moving forward. But yeah, kind of an interesting one.
Yes, indeed. Well, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. Next week's podcast will be probably a little bit shorter than normal, as there is no games to predict next week, as we find ourselves flying headfirst into a international break. Although this is the last one until March of next year. So after this week, or after next week, should I say, we should have no more interruptions between now and March from an international perspective. As always, thank you to these two gentlemen for joining me to take you through the details of my team and their respective teams. Join us again next week where we'll go through those 3 games we just predicted. Might give you a little rundown of the York versus Hartlepool game, provided that it's not a game that I could have played better in myself. Hint, it probably won't be, as I'm a terrible, terrible footballer. If you're new around here, if this is your first time listening to us, obviously thank you. We very much appreciate you joining us on this podcast network. But it's not just us that you should give a try to. We also have an NFL podcast that comes out weekly. We have some guys over there that talk about the Formula One. That's a fairly regular podcast. We have a monthly wrestling podcast. If spandex and baby oil is your thing, get yourself over there. Listen to that. It's a cracker. And the leader of the Cookie Cast podcast network, Mr. Andrew Cook, likes to unload the thoughts and feelings that are going on in his head once a week on the Darkest Timeline podcast. Give that a listen or a watch if you're able. Join us again next week. Like I said, we'll go back through the games we just predicted and we'll look ahead to what's to come. Until then, take care of yourselves, keep an eye out for each other, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
So there we go, what do you think to that? Another one done, another one gone. Hope Stu was enjoying his time away, and join us next week to see if Stu didn't have too good a time and had to return to the podcast, or if he was whisked away to a magical world. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for being here. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave reviews where you can leave reviews. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. Right, that's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.